Welcome back to our corner of incredible adventures. Today we'll journey to one of the most dazzling cities of the ancient world, the magnificent Babylon, a place of powerful kings, strict laws, and unexpected heroes. Here ruled the great king Darius, a just king, but surrounded by advisors, not all of whom had good intentions. King Darius had a vast kingdom, and he needed help to rule it. He appointed 120 satraps. Imagine having that many helpers, and over them, he placed 3 chief governors. But there was one among them who shone with a light all his own, a wise, honest, and hard-working man named Daniel. Daniel was so good at his job, so fair, and so faithful to his God, that King Darius was thinking of putting him in charge of the entire kingdom. Imagine that. The satraps knew Daniel was different. He didn't worship the idols of Babylon. He had one true God, and he prayed to him 3 times a day, every single day. The king was so impressed with Daniel that he praised him in front of everyone. He told him that his reports were flawless, and that his administration was an example for the entire kingdom. Daniel, with great humility, replied that he was only doing his duty, both to the king and to his God. Daniel was so good at his job, so fair, and so faithful to his God, that King Darius was thinking of putting him in charge of the entire kingdom. Imagine that! The jealous satraps couldn't stand it. They whispered among themselves, filled with envy, saying they couldn't allow Daniel, a foreigner, to be placed above them. They complained he was too perfect, as they had reviewed all his work and couldn't find a single mistake. Not a hint of corruption. It was then that Aman had a twisted idea. If they couldn't find a flaw in his work for the king, they would find one in his devotion to his God. The satraps knew Daniel was different. He didn't worship the idols of Babylon. He had one true God, and he prayed to him 3 times a day, every single day. And that was their plan. They would use Daniel's own faith against him. They agreed to create a law that no one could obey unless they stopped praying to their God. With honeyed voices and full of false flattery, the conspirators came before the king. They spoke of his greatness and proposed a royal decree, a special law to show the unity of the kingdom and his supreme power. The law was a trap. For the next 30 days, no one in the entire kingdom could ask anything of any god or man, except King Darius. And whoever disobeyed, they proposed with a malicious grin, would be thrown into the lion's den. The king liked the idea of feeling so important, but he didn't realize it was a trap. And there was something else about the laws of the Medes and Persians. Once the king signed and sealed a law, it could not be changed. Not even by the king himself. Daniel knew immediately what that law meant. He knew it was a trap for him. He had a difficult choice: obey the king and stop praying to his God, or remain faithful to God and face the lions. The conspirators celebrated quietly. They had him. He had fallen right into their trap. They mocked, thinking his God couldn't save him from the teeth of the lions. Immediately, Aman and Zeres rushed before the king. First, they reminded him of the edict he himself had signed, a law that could not be changed. Then they accused him. They told the king that his servant Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, was disobeying him, for they had seen him praying to his God 3 times that day, as if the king's law didn't exist. But the adventure doesn't have to end here. You can become an adventure messenger. How? It's easy. Just hit the share button and send this story to your friends and family. Imagine them discovering these incredible feats and characters for the first time. What do you think Daniel did? He did the same thing he did every day. He opened his windows, knelt down, and prayed to his God, giving thanks, asking for wisdom and strength. How brave! But at sunset, the conspirators returned to pressure him. They reminded him coldly that the law could not be changed and that the lion's den was waiting. Defeated, the king made the painful decision and ordered them to bring Daniel. The king's heart was filled with sadness. He cared deeply for Daniel. He realized he had been tricked. He spent the entire day trying to find a way to save him. With a voice trembling with grief, the king approached Daniel. He told him how sorry he was and expressed his one hope, that Daniel's God, whom he served so faithfully, would deliver him. With unwavering calm, Daniel simply expressed his respect for the king. What a terrifying moment! Imagine being there in the dark with hungry lions. But wait, something incredible happened. God sent his angel, and the angel shut the lions' mouths. While Daniel rested safely, King Darius spent the worst night of his life. He didn't eat, he didn't sleep, he just waited and worried for his faithful friend. With his voice breaking from anguish and lack of sleep, the king shouted down into the den, asking, "Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God, whom you serve continually, able to rescue you from the lions?" There was a tense silence. Suddenly, a clear and calm voice answered from the den. It was Daniel. He announced to the king that his God had sent an angel who would shut the lions' mouths so they wouldn't harm him, because he had been found innocent before God and had also committed no crime against the king. Incredible! Daniel was alive and well, not a single scratch. This proved to everyone that he had trusted in his God, and his God had saved him. With a thundering voice that reflected his fury, the king ordered the guards to arrest the men who had falsely accused Daniel. Justice would be swift. They would be the ones thrown into the lion's den. justice was swift and terrible. Those who tried to harm Daniel received the very punishment they had planned for him. And so, Daniel continued to serve the king faithfully and, above all, his God. He prospered during the reign of Darius and beyond. His story teaches us something super important. What do we learn from Daniel? We learn about the courage to stand firm in our faith, even when it's scary. We learn about the importance of prayer, of always talking with God. We learn about integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And the most wonderful thing of all, we learn that God protects and cares for those who trust in Him. No matter how big the lions in our lives may seem, God is bigger and more powerful. Wow, what an incredible adventure! We hope you love the story of Daniel. He's a true superhero of faith. If you're enjoying this content, you'd help us out a lot by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Remember, it's free. Let us know what country you're from and how great your love for God is. We would love to read your comments. I hope you enjoyed this adventure and that peace and hope will always shine in your hearts. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I'll see you for the next story full of magic, lessons, and adventures.